compared to 27. 14-26. Besides reading the law, the priests and Levites doubtless explained its significance. Compare any 8. 8. And the judicial decisions rendered by them taught principles of divine justice. To 17. 8-13. 1ch 26. 29. 2ch 19. 8-11. Scribes. In the time of Jesus' earthly ministry, the scribes were prominent as teachers of the law. But they did not come to grips with the real problems and needs of the people. Like the Pharisees, the scribes placed greater emphasis on technical regulations and traditions than on mercy, justice, and faithfulness. They made the law burdensome to the people. Mount 23. 2-4, 23, 24. Lu 11. 45, 46. Their teaching was not as effective as it could have been, for they assumed a superior attitude toward the common people and did not prove themselves to be examples worthy of imitation. Compare Mount 23. 3, 6, 7. Joe 7. 48, 49. See Scribe. What made the teaching done by Jesus outstandingly effective? Although the religious leaders of Judaism evidently were not sincere in addressing him as teacher Gr. Los, Jesus Christ was recognized as such by both believers and unbelievers. Mount 8. 19. 9. 11. 12. 38. 19. 16. 22. 16, 24, 36. Joe 3. 2 officers sent to arrest him were so impressed with his teaching that they returned empty-handed, saying, "Never has another man spoken like this." Joe 7. 46. Jesus taught as a person having authority, and not as the scribes. Mount 7. 29. The source of his teaching was God. Joe 7. 16. 8. 28, and Jesus conveyed information with simplicity, irrefutable logic, thought-provoking questions, striking figures of speech, and meaningful illustrations drawn from things familiar to his listeners. Mount 6. 25-30. 7. 3-5, 24-27. See illustrations. Jesus also used object lessons, on one occasion washing the feet of his disciples in order to teach them that they should serve one another. Joe 13. 2-16. Jesus' knowledge was enhanced by his having had an intimate relationship with his Father and God before coming to the earth. Therefore he knew God as no other man did, and this enabled him to provide authoritative teaching concerning his Father. As Jesus himself said, "No one fully knows the Son but the Father, neither does anyone fully know the Father but the Son and anyone to whom the Son is willing to reveal him." Mount 11. 27. Joe 1. 18. Jesus was also thoroughly acquainted with God's written word. When asked which commandment was the greatest in the law, without hesitation he summed up the entire law in 2 commandments, quoting from Deuteronomy 6. O texto e acute miritra longo, teacher. Teaching 1072. Discernment was enhanced by miraculous knowledge of the background and reasoning of others. Mount 12. 25. Lu 6. 8. Joe 1. 48. 4. 18. 6. 61, 64. 13. 11. He himself knew what was in man. Joe 2. 25. His heart went out to the people to such an extent that he sacrificed needed rest to teach them. On one occasion Jesus and his disciples took a boat and headed for an isolated spot to rest up a bit. But people saw them going, and many got to know it, and from all the cities they ran there together on foot and got ahead of them. Well, on getting out, he saw a great crowd, but he was moved with pity for them, because they were as sheep without a shepherd. And he started to teach them many things. Mr. 6. 31-34. Jesus treated his listeners with understanding. When his disciples did not get the point of an illustration, he patiently explained it to them. Mount 13. 10-23 Aware of their limitations, he did not give them too much information. Joe 16. 4:12 When needed, Jesus repeated practically identical information. Mr. 9. 35. 10. 43-44 In answering questions, Jesus often fortified his reply by means of illustrations or object lessons, thereby leaving a deep impression on the minds of the listeners and stirring up their thinking faculties. Mount 18. 1-5, 21-35. Lu 10. 29-37. God's Spirit teaches. During the 3.5 years of his earthly ministry, Jesus trained his apostles to continue the work he had started. As imperfect humans, they could not possibly remember every detail of his teaching. But Jesus promised them the Helper, the Holy Spirit, which the Father will send in my name, that one will teach you all things and bring back to your minds all the things I told you. Job 14.